Hello and welcome to the Travel Nurse YouTube channel. My name is Abdul. Today we are going to look at a very important topic in your quest to becoming an overseas nurse. Not only overseas nurse, but in your quest to becoming a registered nurse or being hired or finding an employer. We are going to talk about interview. Yes, we are going to talk about the nursing job interview. So we're going to look at the interview preparation guide, what you have to know, and things that you have to put in place before your interview. And also we will look at the different types of interviews. Then aside that, we'll also have a look at some sample interview questions that you are most likely to be asked during the interview session. So be it virtual or be it in you attending the interview in person. So stick to the channel, do not go anywhere. This is just short breather. When we return, we go more details. Yeah, so as I rightly said, in every battle, okay, if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail. Interview is a critical stage in job acquisition for everyone, including nurses. So for the interview, we are now going to look at some of the preparation guide. You need to present yourself very well, and you need to be adequately prepared, because you wouldn't want to mess with this, as this is going to give you the ticket for you to practice as a nurse wherever that you find yourself. So first of all, we look at the interview preparation guide. First on the list is I will want to talk about the virtual interview, because it is the most common type of interview now, due to the pandemic, one, and two, due to distance, as a lot of people are being recruited overseas and we don't have people or the employers flying all over to your home country to conduct the interview. They are now cutting down on costs. With the advent of technology, of course, they will rather sit in the comfort of their workplaces and interview in any part of the world. So first and foremost is for you to have a very stable internet connection. Okay, a very stable internet connection. Do not go and buy this 1 CD bundle or 100 naira data, or 100 rupee data, or 100 rands, or 100 shilling. No, buy adequate data. Okay, make sure your device, be it laptop or mobile phone, is fully charged. I prefer using a laptop computer than mobile phone. Okay, so if you don't have, you can easily get it lent from or borrow from someone. Okay, make sure you have a very stable internet connection. Make sure again you are in a very quiet environment, devoid of any form of disturbance. Please and please again, if you are a nursing mother, make sure your children are nowhere near you. If you happen to be working, I would prefer you take a day off on that particular day. If you are in an area or live in an area where you have a very poor internet connection, then it is advisable for you to just relocate to a different area just for this interview, because this is very critical. Okay, those of you in Ghana and other places, we have like Vodafone Cafe and other stuff where there's very high internet speed or high internet connection that you can make good use of. So move away from your comfort zone if you don't have a very good internet connection. That is those with mobile phone. And make sure you have a headphone connected or earpiece for clarity. Okay, then also if you prefer to use your phone, then usually it's either through Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or even Skype, or even WhatsApp video. If it's WhatsApp video, I will not advise. There are a lot of calls coming through that might disturb you. If you have a Wi-Fi connection, is best, where you can put your phone, you can turn off your data or flight, put it on flight mode so you can use the phone for the interview. Bottom line, make sure there is no form of any form of interaction or interruption during the interview. It doesn't speak well of you. Okay, also, you have to groom well. Do not take it lightly, whether it is virtual or not. You have to dress really well to impress. Okay, you have to dress really well, as if you are going for a face-to-face interview. Okay, so that is for the preparation. Then familiarization with your connectivity and other stuff. Then you familiarize yourself with the position that you applied for. It is not for any trivial reason why some trusts give you interview packs. Okay, there are some hospitals or some employers, they will send you specific interview packs where there are interview guidelines pertaining to that particular job position. You need to read thoroughly. You have to read it thoroughly. Okay, if you're applying to any trust, familiarize yourself with the trust, your employer, their mission statement, their core values. If they have multiple sites or multiple hospitals under that trust, you have to at least have a fair idea of those sites. Okay, if you are being recruited to a particular site under the trust, it is very good you look at their bed capacity, the type of services that they render. It all shows your readiness for the interview, because questions might be asked on these areas. Okay, the most important is the job you applied for, job description. Your CV, you should know your CV at your fingertips, at the back of your head. Anything you write in your put down in your CV, make sure you are aware of it. Some of us are fan of giving our CVs out for people to write it for us, or just doing copy and paste. If you are being asked something out of your CV and you are not able to answer or defend, automatically you failed. So you have to know whatever that is in your CV. You have to know that. You have to study your CV very well. Okay, then as I said, first impression counts. First impression really counts. If your interview starts at midday 12, make sure by 11:30 you're already online, or 11:45. 15 minutes, 10 minutes before time, you're already online. If it is Zoom, you're already online, waiting for the host to accept you in. Just visualize it as if it is a face-to-face interview. Do not wait till your panel are ready before you join in. You shouldn't be late. You should always be punctual. Even though it is virtual, you should be punctual. First impression counts. Again, you dress neatly. Make sure you don't have a distractive background, very mild one. Okay, in a very quiet environment. Then during the interview, you should always maintain eye contact. You should always look into the lens of your camera. Maintain eye contact with your interviewers. Okay, then you should be careful of your mannerism and the way your body language in general. You should be mindful of that. You should also speak clearly and slowly. There is no way trying to fake your accent or slur, trying to speak like them. Speak your normal English slowly and clearly so that your words, will be heard. Okay, then be polite and be very positive about what you are doing. If you are being asked a question and you don't know, be truthful. Okay, be truthful. And also, before the interview, as I said, if you read about the trust or about the organization which is interviewing you or the employer, put down some questions. You have to jot down some questions that you ask them. This shows how interested you are in that particular job position. This shows how keen you are to work for them. Okay, so you ask about a lot of questions. You ask about career progression, the things that they put in place to support you or to make you enable you settle in well in your new place. You have to ask some questions as well. This goes to show, as I said, how interested you are in the position that you are applying for. So simply put, these are some simple steps that might help you or will help you to achieve a successful interview. Okay, these are very simple guidelines that you can follow. Some of them, for the panel, you can have multiple. You can have HR, the human resource manager of the hospital. You can have even a patient. Some will introduce they introduce patients during the interview and allow the patient to ask you questions. Okay, so you can have 3 or 4 people seated, and you have to be able to maintain eye contact with all of them. With other private employers, just a single person, just an individual is the one going to interview you. So that is it. Yeah, so now let's look at the forms or the types of interview questions that are being asked. So there are various types of the questions can come in various forms. It's not always about what is or explain this or explain that. Okay, they come in various forms, and you should be up to task. You should be ready for anything. That is why you have to read wide, and also in as much as you might be a bit nervous or anxious, you should be able to be settled, calm down, relax, and you blow it. No interviewer, no employer has the motive of failing you automatically. They always give room for improvement. They always give you the chance to prove yourself. So you should be positive about whatever that you are doing. So these are some of the types or forms of interview questions. We have the situational interview questions. Okay, situational interview question usually comes in a form of a scenario. Okay, they come in a form of a scenario where a scenario question will be put to you and ask you to ask you to explain how you handle that particular situation. So they can ask you about probably a patient in your care with side rails falling off from his bed. Okay, this is situational. This is a scenario. How are you going to deal with it? Okay, so these are some of the forms of interview questions that you can be asked. Again, there are competency interview questions where they try to ask and find out about how good you are, or how you find out about generally your clinical experience or competency. So you can be asked questions like this: what do you think, why do you think you are a good nurse, and how can you evidence this? Okay, they ask you, why do you think you are a good nurse, and how can you evidence this? This is a competency question. Okay, so with this you can easily use the 6 C's. Okay, as I say, if you are applying to UK, okay, make sure your answers are related to the UK nursing code or the NMC UK code of practice. Okay, in as much as you try to introduce your experience from your home country, try and align or associate all your answers to the NMC UK code of practice. So you know the 6 C's. Yeah, so use your competence, compassion, you use care, competence, communication, courage. So try and revolve your answer around these things, and you just go through. Okay, then there are questions that are value based. They are value based questions. Example of this is a question like this: what does compassionate care mean to you, and how do you deliver it? Okay, what does compassionate care mean to you, and how do you deliver it? This is a typical value question, interview question. Okay, this is value based. So in this answer, you try to introduce again some of the principles of nursing ethics. okay, like kindness, empathy, treating person as you will treat yourself or a family member. So you try to make your answer go around these things, the principles or ethics of nursing. So the empathy, as I said, the kindness, how you treat people as you have treat yourself, or treated yourself or a family member. So this is a value-based question. Okay, like a typical example of a value-based question. There are also at times that they will be asking of problem-solving interview questions. Problem-solving interview questions, where again it's more of a scenario, but when a scenario is being thrown at you, you realize that there is the need for you to find a solution to a particular problem. Okay, so for example, you can be asked, how have you dealt with conflict in the past? How have you dealt with conflict in the past? Sorry, this necessarily doesn't involve patients. It can involve maybe a misunderstanding between two patients. It can even be a misunderstanding between yourself and another staff member, a colleague. It can also be between two junior staff. Okay, so just try and reflect about your practice and what you have encountered on the ward. Anytime you try to bring up or make up things, you tend to fumble during your interview. But when you try to relate it to things that happened right in front of you, or things that you were witness to, or things that you were involved in, you try to use these things to answer your question, then the thing becomes very, very easy for you. Okay, so this is a typical question of a problem solving interview question. So they ask you, how have you dealt with conflict in your past? If it is between you and your colleague, how did it end? If it was between your junior staff, what measures did you take? Okay, where you reassured them, I'm just giving a certain example, reassuring them, met with them one-to-one, listen to everyone's side of the story, and try to reconcile them by making them come agreeing on one term or something like that. So it goes on again to show your leadership prowess or your leadership capabilities. And again, there is interview questions that ask about organization and planning. Organization and planning. Okay, so they can ask you something like, what makes a good shift? You can be asked, what makes a good shift? Automatically, no shift is 100%. Okay, we all have ups and downs during shifts, so don't try to create a perfect and unrealistic shifts that do not exist. So you can put yourself here, one, as someone who is in charge of the world, or two, as a great team player. Okay, how you dealt with your allocated duty for the day, how you carried it out, and how you helped others to also meet the tasks to have a great shift. Okay, so these are examples of some questions that you can be asked. There are interview questions which are also more person-centered, where you could be asked that, why do you want to join us? Why do you want to join the NHS? Why do you want to join St. George's Hospital? Why do you want to join maybe Cambridge University Hospital? Why do you want to join? So it's just open-ended question. With this, as I stated earlier, it is very good you read about your employer or the hospital that is going to interview you. Know about their mission statements, know about their core values. For where I work, our core values have the mnemonic or acronym of a KITE, where K is kindness, I is integrity, T is teamwork, E is excellence. So if you have read about your potential employers, core values or mission statement, they ask you, why do you want to join us? Why should we hire you? Then you use their mission statement or core values to answer their question. Okay, because you want to you are a good team player because there is teamwork there. You are someone who works along the integrity line. You're someone who always want to achieve excellence in whatever you are doing. So you tend to share a common goal or ideology with the employer. So that is why you want to join them, because they share your values, share the same values as them. So these are some of the questions. Again, there are open-ended questions where you'll be asked about yourself. Tell us about yourself. This is not the time to tell them, I'm from a family of 7. My father is a tailor. My sibling. No. Tell me about yourself. This question, simply put, is asking about your career development. It's just asking about your job history, where you've come from. So if I registered adult nurse, registered RMN, you just state for how many years you've worked, state your work experience, state your clinical experience, state your specialty. So if you are a children's or pediatric nurse, you state. If you are a mental health nurse, you state. A mental health nurse, where are your area of expertise? Is it in rehab? Is it on the acute ward or chronic ward? Is it on the male or female ward? You state. If you are a general nurse, where? Is it medical surgical? Were you more practicing in the orthopedic ward? Is it on the obs and gynecological ward? Was it on the male and female wards? So that is basically what they want. Okay, so you tell about yourself. You tend to use the opportunity to brush upon your competencies, the types of instruments you use, nebulizer, oxygen machine, blah blah blah, those kind of stuff. So when they ask about yourself, it's not about personal details. I come from Dompoase, my mother. No, not that one, please, not that one. So you can be asked about yourself. So in general, these are some of the questions that will be asked, and at the end of the interview, they ask you, do you have any question for us? It is very important, I know, to know your salary in case you are hired. But this should not be the first thing on your question list. At least you can ask about career progression, training opportunities available when you are hired, finally hired. Okay, you have to look for opportunities for growth. These are the things that comes first. Immediately they ask you, do you have any question for? I forgot. How much are you going to pay me now? No, not that, please. Don't go that way. Ask about career progression. Ask about room for growth. Okay, before, if you want to ask about the salary, which of course it's not a sin, you can ask. So try and ask questions during your interview. I will leave a link so you can follow and also read more about the interview questions. This is just some tips I just touched on. So I will leave the link. Those of you who have already passed your IELTS and your CBT, you can send me personal messages and I will take you through the interview preparation guide before your interview. I'm willing to offer that help. And again, those of you who have my WhatsApp contact, please, it is not for call. Do not call me. Just send a message and let's keep it that way. Okay? Because I have a busy schedule, I go to work, I can't be picking calls. If you leave a message and I see it, I respond. And if there is a need for us to engage in any conversation via phone call, I will gladly do that. Okay, thank you very much for watching. As I always say, if this is the first time you are watching, kindly subscribe to the channel. If you've been with us since day one, thank you very, very much for all the support that you've given. Okay, thank you and see you. Bye.